number of players throughout the game that have represented this club is still better than anyone.
They're the most important ages in footballers' development, between the ages of 16, 17 and 20.
If you want to survive and play week in, week out, you have to be able to do more than just one role.
Hello and welcome to Inside Carrington. I'm Helen Evans, and joining me as always is Liam Bradford. We have rested Phil Jones today, but we have brought in Mr. Reliable, often regarded as Sir Alex Ferguson's greatest ever signing, pound for pound, that is. Dennis Irwin, how are you?
So my sub, Helen.
Well, sorry.
Your first name on my tear sheet then.
Your first sub.
First sub, that's good enough for me.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
You were never sub back in the day though, Dan, but unfortunately you are sub today. But we are delighted to have you. Thank you so much for coming. And of course we are in the Jimmy Murphy Centre today, and I don't know whether you can see behind us at the training pitches. Bit of a wet day actually here at Carrington, isn't it?
Pouring down as I was coming down the lane. Absolutely throwing it down.
The staff coming out there preparing for another week at Carrington. You've not actually been in the new building yet, Dan.
I haven't.
What's your first impression when you drove down?
Well, it's beautiful, isn't it? I mean, I remember going across from the cliff to Carrington in 2000, and that was an amazing step. And you know, the years I only had 2 years here really, which was a huge disappointment when you consider the upgrade it was from the cliff. But I mean, I've been in the building long enough to know that it's a fantastic building anyway. But the recent development of adding extra bits to it, it just looks incredible.
And of course this Jimmy Murphy Centre as well, named after an incredible man at this club. And this is very often where, well, it used to be where the press conferences were. Obviously we've been in the new posh press conference room, but this room is used for meetings and conferences.
Yeah, Foundation.
Interviews.
Yeah, Foundation use it for, like, you know, watching training and you know, dream days and all of that kind of stuff. And you get a lot of commercial bits and pieces done in here as well. So.
Nice little viewing gallery here of the pitches as well.
Yeah, really nice. Really
Maybe
nice.
one day.
So these
they'll let us out there and we can watch training with the background.
First team pitches behind us. Whilst Carrington was being done, actually, the under-18s were playing on that pitch just there. They've moved back to their normal pitch, which is at the other side of Carrington. So they switched everything around, but yeah.
Before we get on to the football, guys, I just want to have an update. We have had lots of comments on the gig v concert debate. Very important information goes out on this podcast.
I gathered, yeah.
Now, Dennis did have a little chat with us before we came on air, and your take was that a gig
would be a smaller,
intimate
kind of gig, whereas a concert's a big.
Similar to my own thinking.
Concert, but I think concert is like a big arena, that kind of.
Well, Gareth Davies says gig is primal scream with Manny on bass in Cardiff Uni. Concert is U2 at the Millennium Stadium. Senna is quality. A side note just. And a Bosch says gig is usually in the context of the performer / service provider. Interesting. Concert is a general event that usually takes place in arenas or stadiums. A band can have a gig at a concert. I am not sure they are interchangeable.
That was very in depth, wasn't it?
Very. These are the kind of conversations that I start.
There's me learned. I was about ready to die on this hill about gig and a concert being interchangeable, but I think I'm just going to have to adjust my position slightly.
So there we go. If anybody is just tuning into the podcast to hear the update on gig v concert, this is the last time we will talk about it, I promise. And I'm not talking about paddle anymore. That's gone. Just
a note that we now have to change his name to Ryan Concerts from this point onwards.
Boom, boom.
I didn't actually get that joke at the start.
Forever to explain.
Shall we talk some football? That would be much better.
That.
Dennis, what's your reaction firstly to the win against Crystal Palace?
It was needed. You know, we've had a fantastic October. Feels like the season's it is being interrupted by the international breaks. We just had the last one there.
You're
in
not
November.
Complaining though, are you?
No, it's nice. Actually nice for the next player to just go and do what he wants. But yeah.
I was referring to the Ireland game.
All right, brilliant. And 2 Ireland games.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, we drew a couple at Forest and Spurs where we could have lost them, could have won one. Obviously, disappointment of Everton at home. But we needed that. We need that because it's so tight up there that we need to keep in there and hang in there. And I don't like doing this because it can go pear-shaped, but you look at the next 3 or 4 games, and potentially, we could make another step forward. But I think we're getting there gradually. I still think there'll be a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but I can see progress. I really can. But it was a big result for us yesterday, and the difference between the first half, you said in highlights, Liam, where we were very passive and give the ball away in the first half too much more aggressive in the second half, pushed forward against them, and you could label the fact that they had a game on Thursday night against Strasbourg Palace, and they tired a little bit, but I think we came through very well in the end, and it was a big win for us.
That was something that Phil Jones pointed out, wasn't it, on last week's podcast, that they struggled in the game following a European game. And it proved to be the case. Ruben Amorim pointing out after the match that actually they felt at the end of the first half that Crystal Palace were a little bit jaded, a little bit tired, and they were going to try and take advantage of that. And they definitely did that in the second half. We pointed out that in any game where Manchester United might have space to operate in, it suits them a little bit better. And I think that's what you got. Against Everton, against that low block, United found it very, very difficult to break that down. Against Palace, where there was a little bit more space to play, they were a little bit more successful. And I just wonder, with the 2 games coming up now, West Ham and Wolves, I think you'll probably see the same again. I think there's likely to be a little bit more joy against a side like West Ham, who will want to play football against you. And maybe, if you're going to find either of those 2 games a little more tricky, it might be the Denis Irwin derby that's a little bit more difficult to play in.
Yeah, I mean, listen, when you play in the Premier League, you come up against different formations, different way teams want to play. So brilliant that we've bounced back against Palace again.
Brilliant for Xerxes as well.
Brilliant, because it's been a year since he scored. What a finish, by the way, as well.
Finish.
You know what I mean? When you saw it originally, you thought, Henderson might be big at fault there, but when you saw the purity of the strike, the power in it, what a great finish that was. And we deserved to win, because I felt we could have even done better. We're still sloppy in certain areas of the field, particularly the final third, where we give them the ball away too much. And we could certainly be more of a threat, but 2 different games. Palace have done very, very well this season. They're very well organised. I thought we nullified their wing backs very well. Muniz has been great for them this year. I thought we nullified that and deserved to win.
Props to Bruno Fernandes as well. Pair of assists for him. He's created more chances than. Sorry.
Yeah. Stolen stat.
I have, yeah.
I don't even hardly have any of my own.
I tell you what, I'll just stop. You give the stat, and then
Bruno Fernandes has taken over Paul Scholes for stats, or for assists. I've said stats now. 56. Paul Scholes was on 55. Sorry, Liam. Thanks for giving me that one. That's the only one I'll probably have all year.
I'll chuck another stat at you. Bruno Fernandes, up until Sunday, created more chances than any player in the Premier League. Had only got himself a couple of assists, 3 assists maybe over the course of the season. So for him to get a couple more, it sort of evens things up slightly. And for those of you that are wondering, a chance created is any pass that leads to a shot.
There you go. Well, he's fantastic, isn't he? We know that. We've seen him in the last 4 or 5 seasons produce year after year after year. I like to see him in more forward role. I got to say that. I thought we saw, you said yesterday that second half against Palace, he played in a more forward position. And I like, because I think that's where he can do the most damage. He can more than capable of scoring goals, but his crosses are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Beckham-like.
It was only a tiny difference positionally for Bruno Fernandes, maybe 5 or 6 yards on average, but it then pushes everybody else further up the pitch, and it worked a treat, didn't it?
There also has been a couple of milestones this week. Luke Shaw being the first one, Liam.
Yeah, Luke Shaw's probably the main one, so we'll just give Diogo Dalot his props. First 150th Premier League appearance for Diogo Dalot at the weekend, but 300 Manchester United appearances for Luke Shaw. And for me, for the vast majority of that game... Made? 0. And it's likely to stay that way as well.
Just the way you went, and for me...
Yeah, none.
One day, Liam, you never know.
No. I think that ship has definitely sailed. I think was the best player on the pitch for large parts of that game. Luke Shaw thought he had an absolutely excellent game against Crystal Palace, and great way to mark your 300th.
Brilliant. I mean, he's been blighted with injuries, Luke, but the fact that he's got to 300, and I got to say, every manager, when he is fit, has picked him as well. And he started in every Premier League game this season, so that tells you that Ruben is definitely backing him. But it was brilliant yesterday. His recovery in a couple of tackles was needed, by the way, particularly in the first half. But yeah, and I think it suits him playing that left centre half. We know he can play the wing back role. But I just think as I'm kind of relating to myself, I would have been more comfortable in that probably centre, left centre, right centre role rather than being a wing back. But yeah, he's been fantastic for us this season.
Excellent intelligence, game awareness, all
Experience.
of that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's superb, and nice to see him get that presentation this week as well, Helen.
Yeah, it's become a bit of a tradition, that, hasn't it? The players all stand around in our lovely new canteen and they get awarded with a nice shirt or something to commemorate their appearances. Did you have that, Dan?
No.
Pat on the back.
500.
I
When
knew
I got
that.
500, I got
What did you get at 500?
a little cup, I think I got.
A cup?
Yeah, and a little mug kind of thing. But
Have you still got
posher
it?
than that. Yeah, I still got it, yeah.
Is it like sterling silver,
Yeah,
gold?
yeah,
And
it's
who
good.
presented?
David Gill.
Right.
David Gill and Sir Alex. But yeah, no, it's a great achievement at this football club. Everybody knows it's a massive football club. It's got a huge history and tradition. So anybody that plays one game for this club should be privileged and honoured that they've put the shirt on for Manchester United. But to play 300 is fantastic, and hopefully plenty more to come.
Yeah.
Footballers go one of two ways. Either they have a trophy room in the house where everything's on display, or it's in a box in the attic and nobody knows where it is. Which one are you?
All my stuff is down in the museum.
You go, you see.
See,
Third
so
option.
giving.
Third option.
Third
So
option.
Denis
giving.
Irwin.
Yeah, so down at the museum, so they can bring anything out when they decide to.
Well, that's a nice
I
idea.
can't believe that you had to get to 500 just to get a cup. Sorry, I'm just a bit flabbergasted by that.
Tougher in those days,
So
probably.
that's how you made you guys humble, wasn't it? You just play 500 before you get a cup.
Yeah.
Well, as I said before, we are in the Jimmy Murphy Centre, someone very close to our hearts here at Manchester United. And today we're going to talk all about youth football with someone also very important at this football club, Travis Binnion. Inside Carrington is presented by United Store, the official home of exclusive United merchandise. Welcome, Travis. Thank you for joining us on Inside Carrington. It's a real pleasure to have you with us. I suppose the best place for us to start, though, is to tell us your job title and what that entails.
Yeah, so I'm head of player development for the 17s to 21. So basically, every player that's left school is in the full-time programme. Along with Stephen Torpey, I'm obviously ultimately responsible for. Within that age range, we've got under 18 side that Colin Fletch and Kevin Wolf lead. But I have to support those guys. The players are quite transient across the two groups and multiple age groups. And then I lead the under 21s side on a daily basis. So yeah, we probably have 35 to 40 players depending on loans across those age groups. A lot of players with the first team daily. So yeah, there's quite a bit to get through.
Well, thank you for joining us, because as I can hear that you've got a lot on your plate. Because as you say, like, you're in this training ground every day, but you're not also doing that. You're going to games, you're supporting the lads as well. There's a lot to this job.
Yeah, so obviously we've got in excess of 10 players out on loan at the minute. A lot of those boys, we hope, will come back and feature in the future. Out of sight, but they're not out of mind. So you're just trying to continue their progress and ensure that they know that we're still there for them, and keep a track of them. I just speak to Denis then just before we came on. Saw Radek last week. So yeah, we've got a lot of good players out of the building at the minute that need to continue to support.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like when you look at some of the players that are out on loan and how well they're doing in those first team environments. Harry Amass with an assist at the weekend, I think, and Radek's obviously doing great things in Bristol. How important is it that you stay across that and make sure that they're sort of doing what you need them to be doing?
It's massive, because there's the opportunity for them to return in a better place. They're the oldest players within sort of our care. But they're not necessarily with us every day, but also coming back and returning to play for the first team, and probably being the most capable ones as well, due to their age and the experiences they've had.
Travis, do you kind of cherry pick what clubs they go to? Because that can be very important as well. Do you look at clubs that want to play football, or you're quite happy to let them go and probably get involved with the physical aspect of it?
Yeah, I think it's difficult. It's on a case-by-case basis. So sometimes with the first loan, the players will be in high demand, so you can cherry pick. You can look at the manager, you can look at the playing style, you can look at the opportunities they're going to get in terms of minutes. Sometimes they don't go so well, the first loan. So the second loan, it's difficult to cherry pick when a first loan's not gone so well. So we try to have really good relationships with the clubs they go to. Of course, we want the playing style or the opportunities they get to be high. But it's a huge case of those lads finding out about themselves when they go out and having to deal with being in the team, being out the team, the manager changing. We've seen that so often. Like, lads have gone on loan. I think one lad's had 3 loans. He's had 6 managers. So I think relationships are key. Speaking to the clubs and the boys throughout that loan and ensuring that they're on track. And across a month, across 6 weeks, you can see that they're getting the opportunities that they need. Is there
I'm just moving on from that. Once a player has sort of come through your system, do you keep tabs on them? Do you keep an eye out for those that have sort of come through and have moved on? People like Will Fish, for example, who had a great game for Cardiff at the weekend. Yeah, definitely. So the first goal on Saturday, Harry and Mass cross for Charlie McNeil. Charlie McNeil gets the second goal for them as well. So it's a nice feeling when you see boys that are still with you and doing well, but equally boys that have left the club. You always have an affinity with them, and seeing them do well. Charlie Wellen scored at the weekend for Orient. I think that's the beauty of this, one of the many beauties of this football club, and our affinity with young players. Like the number of players throughout the game that have represented this club is still better than anyone, still has more depth than anyone. And our job fundamentally is, of course, you want to see players run out of Old Trafford, but can a player maximise where their potential will get them to? And whether if that's 500 games in League One and League Two, that's still so hard to do and still a massive achievement. So maximising their potential, giving them the platform to go and have a long career, and then keeping in touch with them or seeing them have success, whether that's 3, 4, 10 years since they left you, is a great feeling.
You explained your role there and all the aspects to do with that. How much do you enjoy the responsibility of your job and seeing those players that one day might get to the first team, one day a player might leave the club and go on to make appearances elsewhere? How much do you enjoy that responsibility? That is the biggest enjoyment of it. So, like you said, Helen, responsibility is the key word. Like parents put their kids in schools, they want the best education. Parents trust us with their son's football development and off-pitch development. It isn't just about on-pitch. Like, you will not last a season or 5 seasons in this game if you cannot manage yourself properly between games. You can't have relationships with people. You can't deal with adversity. So trying to provide those skills and those experiences while they're in the building with us is huge. And then I'll go back to my role. The first part of my role, being responsible for those 40 players, is far more important than me taking the under-21 side tomorrow night against Anderlecht. We have players with the first team, we have players in the 18s, we have 5-6 games in a week, sometimes across 18s, 21s and the first team. So if I or the staff become obsessed with the under-21s games programme, the under-21s fixtures, it's pretty futile, and we'll lose sight of what we are here to do, and that's to help all the players improve and ensure that they reach their maximum potential and provide the first team with what they need on a daily basis. Yeah, it's the whole development. I'm sure, Denis, whenever you came to United, you knew those guys that had been through the academy here. Was there something different about them?
Well, I mean, you got to go further back than that, because when I was at Leeds, when I was young, defenders had the basics, really. We didn't have any skills, anything like that, and forwards were always the trickier ones. Fast forward to when I come to United, I was 24 when I joined here. You could see the development of the kids. We had advanced so much in that kind of 5 or 6 years that even I missed out on. But you fast forward now, and it's incredible that you look at full-backs, even centre-halves now, even keepers have to be comfortable on the ball now. I know that's a bone of issue with a lot of people, but the advance. But yeah, I mean, I was fortunate in the fact that, like, within 2, 3, 4 years of me being here, Giggsy had come through. We had the 6 lads coming through. But besides that, there was also a lot of players that kind of were on the edge. David Healy, Robbie Savage that didn't quite make it here,
But
that
had
went
great
on
careers,
and had great
yeah.
careers. So it's always been part and parcel of this club that now we've produced young lads, young kids for the first team, but they've also gone out. And as you say, Travis, it's very important that, because it's so hard to break in here, that they, to do the best you can to get them up. The foundation of getting them a good career is so hard. What is the big difference between, I mean, you've been in the game now, Travis, for a number of years. Is it changing all the time? What players need to make a top player?
Profiles are a big thing now. So the game's so tactical, it's so positional. Recruitment is huge in terms of the knowledge around data and the number of players around the world that obviously we're keeping tabs on. But although the game's advanced tactically, the game's getting quicker, players are technical, the skill sets of each position evolve.
Yeah.
I don't think you can lose sight of the basics, and that is being a good team player, being hard to play against, being dependable, being resilient, wanting to win, wanting to compete, wanting to work at your game. So these are not tactical things, these are not technical things, these are character traits that you've got to be selectable to be able to perform. So how do we have that edge on our competitors to make sure more of our kids have careers than them? And I can't look past the ability to be selectable, the ability to be dependable every day. And of course, we're going to provide them with a bespoke programme for what they need to get better in their role each day.
You mentioned those bespoke plans. Does every player that comes through have a personal development plan?
Yeah, every player in our academy, from under 9s through to under 21s through to lads that are with the first team that have gone from us, all have agreed development plans. And that goes back to my previous point. Every member of staff needs to know what that person or player needs to work on, because players get injured. It can't all be on the grass all the time. Like, so much development goes on in this building away from the grass. Let's say you're on the grass 2 hours a day on average. They're in the building 6, 7, 8 hours. So there's so many opportunities there for all the staff and all the key stakeholders to help players get better.
And is that like gym work and, classroom stuff and video analysis?
Yeah, so video analysis, gym work, psychology, education, rehab, prehab, and even with on the grass, like, there's so many different types of training. So we'll have physical days, we'll have position specific days, we'll have unit work, we'll have small-sided games. To get these players better at the rate required, there's so many staff involved to make sure we bullseye, if you like, what each player needs.
Is that the reason that if you watch an under-18s game or an under-21s game on MUTV, for example, you might see somebody that has been playing defensive midfield for the last 8 games all of a sudden is playing right back or centre back? I'm specifically thinking of Jacob Devaney here, who seems to have this ability to play wherever you put him and do a decent job. Is that part of his development as a player?
I think if you want to survive and play week in, week out, you have to be able to do more than just one role. Ideally, you become an expert in one role and you become the best in the business in one role. And we see that right at the top of the game. We see players that absolutely deliver a role, but they're further on in the journey. When you're a young player, you've got 2 challenges. I think you've got to become an expert or on your way to become an expert in a position, but also you need to be selectable to be able to get on the pitch.
Where were you an expert then? Right back or left back?
I started off probably a bit like Gary Neville. I played till I joined Leeds, really, and even first year apprentice at Leeds, I played centre half, Liam. Obviously didn't grow tall enough to be in the old days you had to be 6 foot plus to be a centre half playing that in the old style football, but ended up right back. So I played right back for, if you talk from 16 to 17 to 24, 25. I played right back when I signed here, and the manager kicked me across to left back for the next 11 years. So
that went well.
That went well, yeah, it went very well. But it's what you're saying, it's the basics of defending back in the day, being good on the ball and being able to support, because when you do play for Manchester United or any top club, you as a full back or a wing back, you got to be good on the ball. But it's interesting you said that, because two best players I play with, Robbo and Keeney, they played centre-half loads of times for United. Roy played right-back quite a number of times as well. So I think particularly in midfield, if you've got that defensive capabilities, you can end up in those positions. Whereas I just kind of played, well, right-back, left-back, centre-half across.
I think in the game now, Dennis, you would have played in a back three quite a lot, I think, and in the wide areas. And I think you'd have found it quite easy in terms of your capability to play as a fullback in a four, but it's times, isn't it, the games, and I think it comes down to that football intelligence that you're alluding to, and the ability to deal with the ball and wanting to do it for the team, like no ego, just go and deliver if that's what the manager wants from me, and we need to see that in our young players. We give our young players like all the top academies do so much, but there has to be that humility that comes back to go, I'm playing for Manchester United where it's 18s, under 21's first team, and if the coach or manager wants me to play there, one, I'm capable because otherwise he wouldn't be doing it, and two, I expect to deliver because of the system I've been brought up in and the way we play, and I believe I can do it. They have to have that belief they can deliver as well.
At the end of the day, they're doing a service to Manchester United. They're here for a service and they're representing the badge. How important is it that is ingrained within our young players here? Massive.
Like, we're all privileged to be associated with this football club. We're very, very fortunate to be where we are, working for the club that we do. At 18s and 21s, we don't always have the best team. Like, we very rarely get the best possible team we could put out on that day, because the best team on that day doesn't necessarily mean they're the best players in 2-3 years' time. So we have to get that balance right all the time. I think the way we're trying to play, the positions we're putting our players in, the physical capability and maturation of them at times versus the opposition we're playing against. So we're expected to go and press the ball high up, leave big spaces, dominate the ball, put our goalkeepers, centre-backs under enormous pressure. I think to make the game look how we do at times, I think is a real credit to the players.
And you've got to do that against League One and League Two opposition when you're talking about the Virtu Trophy, and against non-league opposition when you're talking about the non-league cup, the National League Cup. That's a tough thing to do against dyed-in-the-wool men who have been playing physical football for a very long time.
It's an unbelievable point you're making, because I reflect on the I think first 13 or 14 games for the 21s this season, and I think across the 14 games I'm alluding to 2 halves against senior opposition, and that being the second half against 2 good League One teams that are in the top half, and a mad 10 minutes with 10 men. We have made the game look how we want to make it look. So I'm really proud of the performance we've delivered, and we beat Liverpool 7-0 on the weekend, but you can get dead high with that result and you can get dead low with not scoring in 3 goals, but the performances are what matter, the consistency of the players' application, our approach, our expectations, and generally over the course of a run of games you'll have more positives than not.
There is a lot of expectation and pressure on these young players, particularly at Manchester United, as you say. And I suppose people probably think you're at Man United, you're at the 2018s, 21s, you're the finished article. But Denis, I'm sure that you would agree, you probably really don't ever stop learning as a footballer.
Never stop learning, even when you're playing in your last year of your career. Yeah. You're still learning, because like the young lads now have got not just playing against English sides, but playing abroad as well. And you know yourself, Travis, that's a whole different kettle of fish. That's like when I started playing abroad, playing for Ireland and all that, play different systems. They keep the ball a lot better. You need more patience. You can't play your normal game. So you have to adjust to all that. And to have young lads having that within the first 4 months of this season is great. You know, playing Bilbao, then playing against Rochdale. I mean, it's totally different. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, Rochdale now are better footballers than the Rochdale of 15 years ago. Yeah. But they're still physical. Yeah. You know what I mean? The physicality in that game compared to other games would be totally different.
And the games programme is fantastic. So what our young players get the opportunity to play against, you've just said it yourself there, going from Rochdale to Bilbao to Tottenham to Lincoln, it's like, but we're being consistent with what we're asking the players to do. Yet we know the opposition like couldn't be any different from week to week. So that comes with its own challenges. And I think, alluding to your point there, like the English teams now, we keep the ball as well as any teams in the world. and we're very fortunate to have the players we have, and we've got a lot of talent in the building. But we are trying to deliver performances to win games a real pure way, which genuinely makes it harder to achieve on a consistent basis.
Talking of winning games, let's talk about the FA Youth Cup, which I know, Denis, that you played in.
Long time ago.
I actually did ask Denis before. I was like, was that still around when you were young? So exciting game coming up on the 9th of December. How much do you look forward to that period in the calendar when the FA Youth Cup fixtures are around?
The players are so excited about it. Their whole month is like, do I get selected or not get selected? Well, only 11 are going to get selected, and there's 25 of you. So we have a job as a staff to go, the calendar's packed. We have multiple games, multiple training sessions, multiple things to go and achieve. So as a staff, we know how the players look at it, but ultimately it's about us. And we have Anderlecht, Arsenal, Newcastle before it, multiple first team sessions. So yeah, by the time Peterborough comes around, the staff will be excited, the players will be excited, we'll be prepared.
Yeah, the next game's always the most important, isn't it?
We know how important the competition is to this football club. It's part of the fabric. We've won it more than anyone else. We absolutely want to win it, and we'll do our best to win it. But to win it, you've got to win 6 games. And there's been some really talented groups of players that have had some bad nights in that competition, and it's not defined their careers. Equally, we can see recent times, we won the Youth Cup in 22, some careers have kicked on from there, but that team that night, some are at real highs, some are fighting for their careers. It's just football, really. But it's the experiences those boys have, there's no other experience like it for them.
Trav, I just want to ask you about the dynamic and the relationship between yourself, Darren Fletcher, and Ruben Amorim. How does that work?
So Carlos, Ruben's assistant, I'll speak to him daily, twice daily, sometimes 3 times daily. I probably speak to Ruben on average maybe every couple of weeks, touching base on players. Jason, conversations regularly, whether it's myself or Stephen Torpey. But yeah, so that's sort of the managing upwards bit in terms of getting the plan right for players that are with the first team. So if you look back over the last couple of weeks, we've got Shea in there in the last few squads. Diego, Leon, Aidan Heaven have played for the under-21s. 6 players win this morning, so it's a daily conversation around which players are going up and why. And
would that be a joint decision?
Yeah.
You might say, I think he's ready for first team training, or Carlos or Ruben might say, I've seen him in training, I think he should come join the first team. Is that how it would work? No,
definitely it's joined up. So sometimes Ruben or Jason might want a certain player to go and train. Sometimes we might feel that the game is really important for a player, so another player might get the opportunity to train with the first team. We can't lose sight of the development of training with the first team is massive, and being around Ruben and his staff to be ready when that opportunity comes. So I would say Shay's going through that phase now, where that period of training is far more important than any games. But the previous month's games for Shay to play was really important for Shay to get that body of games and confidence. So always sort of two-way conversation, but with multiple stakeholders, not loads of people, but myself, Stephen Torpey, Jason Wilcox, Carlos, Ruben, and then obviously Fletch. My conversations with him are massive around not just the under-18s group, but the under-21s groups. Mm-hmm. So his insight and perspective with Colin Little are huge. So it really is collaborative. I know that's a really in-trend word to use, but it is, because if it's not collaborative, then we are going to let the players down, and we're not going to get it right for the first team if we're not all aligned with the players that we see needing those opportunities, whether it be first team training, whether it be playing games.
A couple of things there. I mean, we used to never really do play against the reserves where they had to replicate who we're playing against, except when we used to play Wimbledon, because they had a totally different style. But our reserves couldn't play like Wimbledon. No. You know, they weren't 6 foot. You know, the right back at our club playing reserves couldn't boot the ball and wasn't used to it. So
Only one
that's
crazy
really,
gang.
Yeah,
There was only one crazy gang.
But on the flip side of that, great that Shea's been on the bench the last couple of games. There must be one or two players within that squad that haven't stepped up and played or trained with the first team. Obviously, you kind of have to look after them as well.
Yeah, honestly, Dennis, I think, I'm almost certain that I bet 25 of our players have trained with the first team at some point this season.
Yeah.
And a good 15 of them will have trained in excess of 10, 15, right. 20 times. So the requirements of the first team week, particularly the pre and post game sessions, require big numbers. So yeah, there's constantly the opportunity to get in front of the manager and different players. Obviously, as the players progress, certain players get more time with them, and that's part of their development and trying to break through. But yeah, every week, in excess of 10 players will be in around the first team.
Just finally, really, for me, I think I'd like to talk to you about the 18s, because there's some really exciting youngsters coming through. And people that watch the games on MUTV or anywhere else will be getting very excited about these players. Are you excited about this group? And is there just a word of caution that some of these, they're just kids?
Yeah, you do get excited, but when you're doing our jobs, it's your job to keep them grounded and be consistent with our approach. So it's to protect the player, really, that there's enough hype around this football club, and our job is to make sure the correct programme is in place for their stage of development and their age and maturation, just to help them keep moving forward. And they'll have good weeks, good games, bad games, and we've got to remain consistent because ultimately we think they've got a chance to be a footballer. They're in our programme to become a footballer. We cannot dictate what level or what club that's going to be at, and ultimately their performances will decide that. All we can do is be the constant around how we approach their programme and how they approach their own programme.
Travis, thank you. Before we do leave you, I just have one note here that's quite interesting, that you used to play cricket professionally. Yeah. Can't believe I didn't say that at the top.
Not much use to helping Manchester United, is it?
It's a good fact, though.
Yeah.
Who did you play professionally for?
Well, I would have gone onto the staff at Notts. I played for England under 15s. So it was all like 16s and below. Because as soon as I was 16, I took the scholarship at Sheffield United. So yeah.
So you're similar to Phil Neville. He had a choice, didn't he, between cricket and football?
Football was my passion. Do you know what I mean? That's what I always wanted to be. Always wanted to be involved in. Cricket, something to do in the summer. Ended up being quite good at it, and then your whole childhood's taken. We was chatting before, weren't we, about kids now and the pressures. So yeah, I'd be one night at Trent Bridge, one night at Shirecliffe. Like, it was mad, really. Like the effort levels of my parents, and I don't know when they saw each other, to be honest with you, when I was growing up. And my sister, bless her, she's just watching me everywhere, cold, wet, sunny. So
that's why I became interested in football, because I had two brothers. Brilliant. Well, Travis, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. It's been so insightful, and I think people really enjoy hearing what you've had to say. And a quick promo, please do go and show your support on the 9th of December against Peterborough. You can go and get tickets on our website, so please do, because it does really, really make a difference to all those lads having a big, massive crowd.
Yeah, honestly, the fans are unbelievable. I go back to when we won it in 22, 67,500 there. No one's ever done that. But even the way the crowds grew throughout the rounds, the expectation, the buzz around the players. And I know, obviously, to get down to Old Trafford's not easy. To get down for an under-18 game's not easy. But to get some people in and supporting our young players and putting that bit more expectation, a bit more of a buzz around the group, for their own development, it's like, I beg the fans, really. It's huge for the lads.
Yeah. Well, listen, good luck with it all and all the games before that as well. Thank you very much for joining us.
Inside Carrington is brought to you by United Store, where you can shop the biggest selection of festive United gifts. Kick off the holiday season with United Store. 100% official, 100% United.
absolutely fantastic to have Travis on there. And I'm going to give one more plug. Please go and support the lads on the 9th of December. It is a 7 o'clock kickoff, so not too late for little ones either. And of course, you can get your tickets on the website, but please do go and support them, because it really does make a big difference, as Travis said. The first thing I want to pick up on that there interview, Denis, was just how I just felt like I learnt so much from that interview. From, you think you know a lot about the youth teams here, the 21s, but there really is so much more goes into it than just a 21 side, an 18 side. It's
mind-boggling what Travis is looking over, really, because they're the most important ages in footballers' development, between the ages of 16, 17 and 20. It's when players try to make it to the first team, and if they don't make it to the first team, as Travis said, like, you hope that they go on somewhere else and play a lot of games, like Will Fish, we alluded to. But just what goes into programs from nine years up, it's just incredible, the amount of feedback. I remember, listen, when I was youth player at Leeds, there was nothing like that at all. Incredible. And I'm just thinking back, even when I was in the first team here, whenever we played, especially the early 90s, whenever we played in Europe, particularly Eastern Europe, we didn't have that much information about the opposition we were playing. There was no videos back then, so I know it's a long time ago, don't get me wrong, but the advance in information, technology, just all-round stats, I mean, for him to take all this in as well must be mind-boggling. But it's like when you send your kids to school, like, the teacher's the most important person really in their development of education. Well, kids come in here, you hopefully hope that the coaches here, can get them match ready for first team football here or elsewhere. So the parents of kids playing here, they're looking at the coaches, hoping that they're the best coaches around. And I think we have got the best coaches around, by the way. Like, you look at the amount of players we've got through to not just the first team here, but have gone on to play really good careers elsewhere as well. You got to trust them coaches.
It was nice that Travis was talking about that winning mentality, because that is what our academy has always been built on.
Yeah, because I think, particularly in the modern environment, you hear a lot about just development and getting a player through the kind of under 14, under 16, under 18. But winning is a huge part of that as well. Huge part. And I understand further down the ladder, like under, I don't know what age to start now, is it 7s, 9s? It is all about, letting players play in different positions and enjoying it a bit more. But I think as you go up, where it becomes, a tougher environment to prosper, I think you got to learn to win. I think it's just that mentality that you should have at a certain age, that you want to win everything.
Okay, guys, let's finish then with some of your questions and comments. A reminder to please subscribe to us on your podcast platform of choice, and if you want to see us as well as hearing us, you can head to the Manchester United YouTube channel, where you can leave a comment just like Dawn, who has said, Liam, where can I buy that t-shirt? Referring to your one from last week.
Oh, is that the white Bring Back 1991 t-shirt? Yeah, Manchester United. The United store is where all of that comes from.
United store, and the answer to that one. For Bester says, Phil's career was great, but also hit by injuries. If you guys could take away all the injuries from one player's career, who would it be? Mine would be R9 or Solskjaer. Very interesting question, that.
Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate that I got through a lot of years as a professional player, and the longest I was out was 2 months with a medial. So
you're still in the same shape as what you were when you were playing football.
Yeah, I still kind of do a little bit of tennis.
Still play 90 minutes.
He doesn't take takeaways or anything, do you, Dan?
I don't know. No, I try to live as healthy as possible. I go to the gym quite regular. But just going back, it's horrendous. It's horrible to say. It's part and parcel of a footballer. Picking up injuries. Even Martinez has picked up a couple of serious ones. How long's he been here? Like 4 seasons?
Yeah, and he's had 2 knees.
2 knees already.
This latest one's kept him.
Phil obviously was blighted with injuries. Luke has had a lot of injuries as well, and it can disrupt your career.
Anybody that you played with that you can think of?
Well, Ben Thornley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, what a great player he was. Star player, yeah. But it just can take things away from you completely, and sometimes you got to be lucky.
What about Ruud van Nistelrooy? If that knee injury hadn't happened, you get him the first time round rather than having to go back to him, and then you get an extra couple of seasons of Ruud van Nistelrooy
and
at
Ollie,
Manchester United.
as the lad said there, Ollie picked up loads of injuries as well. So, yeah, it's not... You can be lucky. Roy, came unbelievably back from his cruciate in the mid-90s, 96, 97. So there's every help here available for you, but you still want to avoid those type of injuries.
Surely back in the day, though, like you guys must have been playing through muscle tears and stuff. There just wasn't MRI scanners available to you like there is now.
I think in the 80s and early 90s in particular, if you had a slight injury, you'd probably play
through it.
Yeah, you play through it. You know what I mean? Especially as a defender as well, I think.
But players get MRIs for everything now, which is the right way to do it.
Yeah,
but just saying, back in the day, you probably were...
Well, it was injections even before my day. I don't know if they still go on now, but I don't think they need to take the risk these days because there's so many players in the squad, but certainly in the 80s and 90s they did.
I wonder whether, you often hear that said, don't you, that, you're never really 100% when you're playing. Yeah. And it's probably still the same now. It's just the level of understanding of an injury, is different now to how it was.
And finally, one more. Simon says, love these pods. I'd like to know which new signing turned up for the first training session and surprised everyone, i.e. being better than expected.
Plenty of them. You know what I mean?
But there must have been someone that turned up and you thought...
I think there's players that you play with when they come here. Like, we didn't know that much about Yap. But
you probably
we knew
learned very quickly,
We knew straight away. It was like, wow, he's suited for the Premier League. He's powerful, he's strong, he's quick.
Yeah.
And he had a fantastic 3 years here. Probably should have had more.
Longer.
But yeah, I mean, Mbeumo's, what a great player he is, by the way. You see him at Brentford, obviously had 4 or 5 great seasons down there. He's been fantastic for us. It really has.
There's a fun story about Brian Mbeumo where he comes in and he's actually dead quiet, so tends to keep himself to himself. And then just in pre-season, there's a meeting and something gets mentioned, and then all of a sudden, he finds his voice, he's got something to say, and he's vociferous and he's loud. And apparently everybody just looked at each other and went, where's that come from? Where has that come from? Yeah, no, that's... So, yeah, sometimes players can surprise you, can't they?
Yeah. Ollie
was
people
brilliant.
Often say that they didn't know much about Ollie when he came.
When they come in from abroad, particularly in the 90s, you didn't know an awful lot about him. Ronnie was the same, Ronnie Johnson. But Ollie was brilliant. You got him for absolutely next to nothing. And probably, along with Ruud, probably the best finisher I've seen at this football club. Incredible. Just knew how to score goals, knew the position to get into, and just were very goal savvy.
Were you here when Big Pete arrived?
Yeah.
What was he like when he come into training?
So when Big Pete arrived, he came in super fit actually. He was one of the best runners. He's a big lad, but he obviously did a little bit before he came over. We played a pre-season game against a Japanese team. I think they were called Mazda. Came across, and but we got beat 3-1. And I remember I wasn't playing, but the manager was trying out a couple of things, and Big Pete threw a couple in, and we thought, who the hell have we signed here? But soon after, we realised how good he was, by the way. But yeah, there was loads of players, I suppose, when you think about coming in the 90s that you didn't know too much about, particularly the group, like, we've played against Jordi, but there was a group there that came in. Cal Baborski we'd seen in the Euros in 96 here in England, but like Ronnie Johnson, Ollie, they were two fantastic players who were at the club a long time. So I didn't know an awful lot about them.
Think about them. Andy Cole, Dwight York, Teddy Sheringham, all of these players came in during that spell. And I mean, all turned out to be absolutely
But you know how good they were because you played against them week in, week out.
Yeah, it was more people that are coming from like Ollie, for example.
From Norway, and Ronnie, who started off as a centre forward, I think, originally when he was playing in Norway, went to Besiktas and played centre half. And in the end, for us, he played centre half, but he also played a holding midfield player. But I think we signed Ronnie for £1 million or something like that, which is steal.
Yeah.
Ray van der Gouw came the same year. What a great understudy. We'll never obviously get the limelight because Big Pete was so good, but he was a really sound keeper, really good keeper.
Jesper
We were blessed.
Jesper's another one. We played against him, actually. You should speak to Maisie about him, because he played against Maisie it was Maisie's first year, so it would have been 94, 95. And Maisie played right back, and Jesper took him apart. I think the manager remember that, because Jesper went across to Parma, didn't he, in Italy, Parma, and came and joined us. And again, he was very underrated, because, I mean, everybody said he was an understudy to Giggsy, but he was a real clever player as well.
Some great comments this week, guys. Please do keep them coming in. If you want to get involved in the conversation, you can leave a comment on our YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts. That's just about it. And just a reminder, Denis, you're not a sub to us.
Thank you.
There's always a chair for you and the podcast team, isn't there, Liam?
100% any week you like.
What's your plans for the week, Liam?
I've got a busy week. So Tuesday is under 21s. Wednesday, I think I am got a couple of little bits to do Wednesday. Then Thursday is first team. Saturday's under 18s. Sunday's the women's team. Monday's first team again. So yeah, we've got a busy few days.
That's busy. Thought Travis was busy.
Yeah, busy few days.
What about you, Den?
I got a couple of things to do, but more Thursday night for West Ham. Really look forward to that. It's obviously the other Premier League games will have finished as well, so we'll have a fair idea that potentially if we win it, how high up we go. But it's so close. It's so close that like a couple of wins can really propel you up. You look at Villa; they struggled early on, but all of a sudden they're up there now. So it's a good battle in the Premier League this year. Really good battle.
I agree.
Denis, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.
And thank you for listening or watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.